Oh, I'm so hyped for this new Guild Wars 2 expansion. Finally, some new stuff for PvP. That's weird. They don't really have anything listed here. Oh, here we go. It's talking about combat. Strikes, fractals. Where's the PvP? Is there another arrow? Wait, let me go back. There's nothing here about PvP? Not again. No. All right, hey, what's up, guys? It's Tom from Back As Dad, and today I want to talk about the missing feature in Secrets of the Obscure, the new expansion announced from ArenaNet. I think it's pretty obvious. I scoured the website, you saw the intro, it is PvP, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on with PvP. I feel like we haven't got really any updates in quite some time. Obviously, we're getting balance updates for PvP classes, and so, of course, that is sort of what is expected for a game. Balance your game, balance your PvP specs, so that is all good, no complaints there. So I don't exactly have the answer to what is going on with PvP, but I do have some answers of what I might like to see, so let's go ahead and jump into it. I think the people who are playing PvP really still enjoy PvP. They like the 5v5 game mode, the capture points. I think all that is good, so that's not the problem. When Josh Davis was announced and Colin Johansson came back to the game, they made an effort to put an emphasis back on the three pillars of Guild Wars 2, which is of course PvE, PvP, and World vs. World. Well, in that time, since they've come back to lead the game, PvP is the only thing that's gotten no attention, no love, no updates, and I hear a lot from people, or sometimes I should say from people that, well, you're getting balance changes and we got a new elite spec in the last expansion, but I'm sorry, that is not content. An elite spec is content, but it's not PvP content. It's a new way to play your character, but we have gotten no modes, we've gotten no maps. But to go forward, I feel like we need to go back and take a look at what they have done for PvP. And the recent things that come to mind, of course, was Stronghold. Stronghold is sort of a MOBA style mode where you progress 3 lanes, you try to kill the boss at the end. Now, Strongholds did sort of flop, but I also feel like this was an era and a time where ArenaNet didn't exactly know where they were going or what type of content they wanted to make. And so I just feel like Stronghold probably could have been really good if it would have got some more attention and love and care from the developers. And it just never did. So it kind of is what it is at this point. It almost doesn't exist in my mind. The other thing, of course, was they gave us automated tournaments. Of course, though, automated tournaments was a way for hardcore players to go in and play competitively against one another and get some really nice rewards. And so for the competitive player, I think automated tournaments great. And you can probably still argue that automated tournaments are not content. It's just a new matchmaking system and a new reward delivery system for the really top hardcore players in Guild Wars 2 PvP. And it's sort of frustrating because we have seen obviously a real big emphasis put on strikes, and they're going in this new direction in PvE. They have a clear focus. You're getting the new legendary open world armor in Secrets of the Obscure. They're continuing with maps, metas, and new fractals. So PvE is getting lots of love. Of course, World v World restructuring is still in the process, but it is ongoing. They've committed to redo the rewards for World v World, so even World v World, who was neglected for a long time, don't get me wrong, is starting to get some more love. So again, the silence is sort of deafening when it comes to PvP, and I hope we get some sort of announcement soon. But why don't we talk about what the community has said, or what at least I have heard recently. Guild Wars 2 has some really great content creators in the space, and I feel like they continue the conversation on a lot of these topics, and PvP is one of them. And there was a really great tea time not too long ago where Teapot had on Helsith and another pro PvP player, and they were kind of talking about the state of PvP and where they would like it to go. And I feel like their solutions were more geared towards elite 1% PvPers. I think a lot of what was discussed was, hey, let's get more 2v2, 3v3 arena style modes going all the time. That was really what they wanted, and I'm sure there's more nuance to the conversation I'm not delivering. I urge you all to go watch that episode of Tea Time. But to me, I feel like they're really missing the point. The big point is that Guild Wars 2 is probably the most casual MMO for casual MMO players. There's horizontal progression, there's no gear grind, and all of your grinds are opt-in. You're not forced to do anything. You can progress how you want. Everything rewards you from crafting to open world, and if you need to step away from the game, you can. It's not hardcore in the way that, like other MMOs, it's almost like a second job. This is the vast, overwhelming majority of players are casual players. So I think what these guys are missing is that PvP actually needs to become even more casual to reinvigorate PvP, to get your average open world, meta, world boss trained player into PvP. It doesn't need to become more hardcore, because the reality of it is, when you decrease the number of players in a PvP mode, it inherently becomes more hardcore. So once you drop to 3v3 and 2v2, you're then putting more weight, you're then putting more responsibility on all those players. You're now one of 3 instead of one of, say, 5 in the normal mode, or in a battleground system, one of 10. So the key is not to become more hardcore. The key is to become more casual, more open, widen the doors of PvP where more people can enter. And so I think this is the direction that Guild Wars needs to go. Do I have every single answer? Obviously not, but I do have a few things that I would like to see. So let's take a look. So let's start with what I would like to see, and probably the biggest thing I want to see. I would like to see Guild Wars 2 adopt some sort of battleground system similar to WoW. And here's why. First of all, you could make it maybe a 10v10 mode. So again, you're increasing the level of players. Each individual player has less responsibility. If a player wants to zerg with the group, they can. If a player wants to go 1v1, they can. And the really nice thing about this is, hey, if there's a new player to PvP, the one player is not going to win or throw the match. This player can come in and just be one of 10 and can learn the ropes of PvP, can get comfortable with doing damage, with their rotation, with how to play. I think it's just more inviting for a new player to come in when you increase the numbers. The second thing is, and this is always a hot topic in Guild Wars 2, I know it is because I watch the podcast and I see people talking about this often, and that is people want to play the way they want to play. People like to play their build, right? And if you have a 10v10 battleground game mode, you don't have to play meta, and you don't have to change your open world build when you come in. You don't have to change your strike build when you come in. And so I feel like it gives players the freedom to play PvP with the build they want, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just fun. And then the other cool thing about this system is just think of how many fun game modes you could do. I mean, look at Capture the Flag. I think Capture the Flag would be amazing. Think of all the really cool movement abilities in Guild Wars 2 and how fun it would be to flag carry. I think that would be awesome. Or if you look to a game like Star Wars The Old Republic and their Hut Ball, which is a really interesting kind of like game where you pass the ball up and down the field to score in the end zone. I think that is a super cool game mode. And so people are starting to borrow so much from Guild Wars 2. I think it's time for Guild Wars 2 to borrow from some of these other games as far as battlegrounds go and give us some really fun, larger scale maps with more players to have fun and enjoy. And given the new yearly expansion model they're doing with quarterly updates, I think you could treat PvP sort of like the fractal system. Hey, we get one game mode a year or one new battleground a year that will be in one of the quarterly releases. I think at the same time, you can add a 5v5 map in that rotation as well for the people who still really love 5v5. I think making PvP just overall more casual, more friendly, inviting people in, making the doors wider to get into PvP is the road forward for Guild Wars 2 PvP. The last thing I want to say is that regardless of all of this and the lack of a PvP announcement, I have not lost hope for Guild Wars 2 PvP. I am still holding out hope that Josh is going to come out with a blog post addressing PvP and talk about their new philosophy in the direction they want to go. And I really do think this is going to happen, that they are going to address PvP at some point in the near future. And the great thing about PvPers is we don't actually need much, right? We'll go into the same battleground, the same arena, the same 5v5 match, and bang our heads against the wall against the same players over and over and over, just because we love the competition and we love doing it. So we don't need much, but we need something, right? We need something. And these, of course, are just some of my ideas of casual PvPer in Guild Wars 2. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys want to see with PvP? I mean, honestly, is PvP balance updates enough for you? Getting a few new weapons in the expansion, is that enough? Or is that the bare minimum like I believe it is? And we want to see new modes like other MMOs get, because I right now can go to a number of other MMOs and games and get some really fun casual PvP that's being updated often, but I want a reason to play PvP in Guild Wars 2. I want a reason for Guild Wars 2 to take up the majority of my time playing PvP, because the combat is amazing, the normalized gear is amazing, and so that's just where I'm at. Let me know where you guys are at, and if you like this kind of video, like it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. I'm going to keep covering Guild Wars 2. Till then, see you guys.